Hi, awesome third graders. I'm going to say hi to Cameron and Cassius. Hi, Amaya and Dream. Hi to Journey. Hi, Kennedy. Hi, Alicia. And hello to Demarvion. I miss you guys all terribly. We are going to talk about our fifth week 5 learning packet here. I cannot believe that we have already done 4 weeks of learning in this new way. Hopefully we are all getting the hang of it, and I cannot wait to see you guys either online or hear from you in some way. It makes my day. So here we are, week 5. That is going to take us from April the 20th through April the 24th. And as usual, this first page shows us some expectations for our math this week and some tools for us to use. The first page in our packet is a telling time. Telling time 1 minute intervals. So remember, we are going to be using those little tiny dots. Each little tiny dot in there is 1 minute. Okay? Draw the time shown on each clock. So I don't know about you guys, I still really like to color code my hours and my minutes. And so I like my hours to be pink, or I usually like them to be red, but I actually have a pink pen right now, so I've got my hours here in pink and my minutes. Then I can make my minute hand blue. If you don't have colors, do not worry about it. You absolutely can do this with a regular pencil, but using the colors helps me to think about just make sure that I'm doing it the right way. Maybe I'll even just do the first 1, 2 with my colors till I'm like, okay, I know what I'm doing, and then go forward with your regular pencil. But so my hours, I've got them red, and I am going to make sure that that is my shorthand. Okay, your hour hand is the shorter hand because it only has to reach to the large numbers. But before I draw, because you guys are third graders, before I draw, I'm going to think about, okay, this says 8. So I know my hour hand is going to be somewhere in the 8's house. But remember that the 8's house is a whole section long, right? As our minutes tick by, our hand moves throughout the hour house. So it's in, I'm trying to find a little pencil for you guys. It's in the hour house, the hour of 8. I'm going to color the whole house in right now just so you guys can see it. I'm not using my colors yet. I'm just shading in the house. Okay. So my hour hand could be anywhere in here depending on how close it is to 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock. So I'm looking at my minutes. It's 58 minutes past 8, after 8. It's already been 8 o'clock, 8:00, and now it's been 58 whole minutes. That's almost an hour. That means it's almost to the next hour. It's almost to 9. Is it 9 yet? No. It's still in the 8 o'clock hour, but it's really, really, really close. So my hour hand, when I draw it, I'm not going to draw an hour hand that's pointing straight to the 8 because that happens at 8 o'clock. It's so close to 9, I'm going to make sure that my hour hand is up here pointing not to the 9, it's not 9 yet, but pretty close to the 9. And so I'm going to see if I can do this holding this up here, because I also like to use something that has a straight edge on it, and it can be anything. A ruler is really, really helpful, but sometimes a ruler is too big. So I'm actually just going to use these Post-it notes. It's easier. You should do it down here on your table in front of you, but I'm going to try to show you what I'm doing. So I'm going to hold those up, and one side is on the dot, and the other end is pointing. Now, again, I said, do I want it to go right here to the 8? Nope, because it's almost the next hour. I know the hour hand has moved almost to the 9. To the 9, too far. Right there, almost to the 9. And then I'm going to use my pen, if I have enough hands, and I'm going to trace from the dot along my straight edge, not all the way, because it's the shorthand. Okay, but I'm just going to keep it just inside the large numbers. And there is my hour hand. It's 8 o'clock, but almost to 9. So I'm pointing in there. Now my minutes are 58 minutes. Whenever I'm finding minutes, I'm going to start at the 12 because the 12 is 0. So just like any skip counting, I'm going to start here at the 12, and I'm going to go all the way to 58. Okay? Now some of you might know already that this is 15 or this is 30, and you can count on from there, but I'm just going to show how to do it from the 12. So the 12 is 0. Now in between each large number, I know there's 5 small dots. So I could go ahead and count each one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here I am at the 1, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Here I am at the 2. But since I know they all have 5, I'm going to use my 5 counting because that's going to be so much faster. Remember how I counted all the way to 10 here at the 2? I'm going to start counting by 5s. 15 will take me to the 3. 20 takes me to the 4. 25, 30, 35, 40, 45 goes right to the 9. 50, oh, I'm getting close. I'm at the 10. It's 50 minutes. It's pretty close, but I've got to go to 58. 55 would take me pointing straight at the 11. 50. Now, I can't count by 5 anymore because if I go 5 more, it'll be 60, and that's not right. I got to go to 58. So 55 here at my 11. Now I'm going to count little dots. 56, 57, 58, and I'm going to put a little dot right there at the 58-minute mark. Now my longhand has to come from the center. Okay, so still at that center dot, and it's got to go all the way out to the edge of my clock to show till it touches that 58-minute mark. Okay, so one end here on the dot, the other end of my straight edge, my little post-it pack I'm using, is at the 58 minutes, and I'm going to draw from the dot to the edge. And there is my time, 8:58. 8:58. Okay, so my hour is 8. I'm in the house of 8. And then 58 minutes, counting the little tiny dots, 58 of them, all the way to there. That's what my minute hand will touch. As you go through here, this hour is 2. Remember, we're previewing 32. I know that 30 is about halfway between, so my 2-hour hand is going to be about halfway between the 2 and the 3, okay? Because it's about halfway done with my hour. Previewing this one, again, it's in the 3 house, but look how many minutes have gone by since 3 o'clock. Only 2 minutes. It's going to be really, really close still to that number 3, right? Because only 2 minutes have passed. So it's going to be in the 3 house and really close to the 3. It's not close to the 4 at all yet because it's only been 2 minutes since it was 3 o'clock. Okay? Go ahead and go through here and fill out the rest of those clocks the exact same way. Addition word problems. This should ease your mind. It's addition. That means we're adding. We're doing plus problems. Pretty easy. We know that all of them are going to involve addition in some way. Is it going to be just 2 numbers? Is it going to be 3 numbers, 4, 5? I don't know. But I know it's always going to be an addition problem. Read and answer each question. It starts off with a general story. Charlie and his father, an engineer, okay, that means his father designs and builds things, figures out how things work, decided to build a tree house in their backyard. Super fun. So all of these word problems here, Charlie and his dad are using math to figure out how to build the treehouse, and you're going to help them out. The thing with word problems, just like we studied in class, you have to read carefully. Don't feel like you need to read it one time and then know the answer. That's not how math word problems work. Just like any story, read it carefully, read it more than once, find all the details that are really important, and then you're ready to write a number sentence and solve the problem, or draw a picture and solve the problem, or use a place value chart and solve the problem, or a stamp game and solve the problem, okay? But reading carefully is the very first step. I'll read number one just to kind of give an example. You will do the rest of them. Number one, in order to start constructing the house, okay, so in my mind, I'm already picturing the story. They haven't even started building yet. In order to start constructing the house, Charlie and his father needed to gather some wood from the forest. If they initially, that means in the beginning, if they initially have 15 extra planks of wood in the house, and Charlie and his father got 10 planks of wood each, how many pieces of wood do they have in total? So the very first thing, I'm picturing this. I'm picturing Charlie and his dad. They need wood. They're going out to the forest. The story tells me they have some already at their house. They go out. They each gather it. They bring it back. And I want to know, how many pieces of wood do they have in total? And so a plank is just like a piece of wood. So I'm going to start with some of my important numbers. Okay, we started with 15. Okay, now I can't just go circling numbers because I started with 15. But then it tells me Charlie and his father got 10 planks of wood each. That's an important word right there. Can I just say 15 plus 10? Think about it for a minute. They started with 15 in the house. Okay, they got 15. There's a bundle. Charlie and his father got 10 planks each. Well, that means Charlie, here's a C for Charlie, he went and got 10 from the woods. And then Dad, there's a D for Dad. Dad went out and his bundle was 10 also because it said 10 planks each. So now I know I started with 15 in the house. Charlie got 10, Dad got 10. Now I can figure out how many pieces of wood do they have in total, okay? Because I drew a model and I followed the story. You cannot just look and say, oh, there's the number 15, there's the number 10. Would 15 plus 10 be the same as the model I've drawn here, 15 plus 10 plus 10? If you're not reading, you're not getting all the details that will help you to figure out the right answer, okay? With this model, I can see I've got a 10, I've got a 10, that's 20. Here's another 10 in this number 15, that's 30. And there's my 5 units, that's 35. I've got 35 planks of wood. When I write my answer, I'm never ever going to just write 35 because it's a word problem. If the problem has words, we're going to put words in our answer. I'm going to label it 35. And it says how many pieces of wood do they have in total? So I'm going to say 35 pieces of wood. Label my answer, 35 pieces of wood. Okay, so as you go through here, we did the first one together, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Read carefully, read it more than once. You saw me go back, I pictured while I read, and then I used a strategy to help me figure out the answer and labeled my answer. Sweet. Multiply by skip counting on a number line. For each multiplication equation, use the number line and skip counting to find the answer. Number lines are always pretty fun and easy to use. So 4 times 5, we'll say Here is 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 1 time. And then I'm going to take another jump. 1, 2, 3. Whoops. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 2 times. Okay. I'm going to jump 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 3 times. That's 4, 3 times. I'm going 5 though. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Each of my jumps is 4 numbers long. 1, 2. What did I say? 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. I've jumped 4 spaces. I'm counting the spaces between my numerals. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So and I did my groups of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 times. The final number I landed on is 20. 4 times 5 is 20. It is just like skip counting. Look where I landed. Started at 0, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20. It is just like my skip counting by 4s. Okay. When you come to do 3 times 3, you're going to, instead of jumping over 4s, 4 spaces, you're going to jump over 3 spaces. And you're going to do it 3 times. You might want to use a different color to help you keep track or erase. 1, 2, 3 spaces. Obviously, when we skip count, I'm always going to land on the number itself first. 1, 2, 3 spaces. Okay. 1, 2, 3 spaces. And that was 3 times. 3, 6, 9. My answer is 9. 3 times 3 is 9. Finish the rest of this using your number line. I will tell you, these are multiplication math facts. A lot of you know them already, or at least you know part of them. Practice using the number line anyway. The number line is a good tool to have when we do other operations. So practice it on the number line. If you already know the answer to the math fact, then that's great. You'll know if you use the number line correctly by did you land on the answer that you already knew. Okay? ELA. Read the passage, answer the questions. The passage is called Making Predictions, and it's actually really nice talking about predictions. Now, we make predictions all the time when we are doing science. We do it all the time when we are reading, and so it's going to just talk about that strategy. So read this carefully. When you are finished, you can pause this right now if you want to read it right now, or I will review the questions. You can pause after and go ahead and read your story. What is an example of a visual aid? Visual aid. Well, definitely going to go back, look for that term, visual aid, in my story so I can write down an example from the story. Number 2, what can you use to support your opinion about what is likely to happen? So that's great because we talk a lot about supporting our opinion using evidence. So what does it tell you in here? How can you support your opinion about what's likely to happen? Number 3, what is one benefit of making predictions before you begin reading? Okay, so a benefit means something that is good, helps you, works out in your favor. So it's probably talking in this story about the benefit, something good about making predictions before reading. Okay, awesome. What should you do after you finish reading? Name one reading passage or text chapter where you can make predictions before you read. So it's giving an actual example. Name one reading passage or text chapter where you can make predictions before you read. The back of that talks about the skills that we're using, and then again, how do you feel about your work? Connected to our fine arts page. Directions: using a pencil and or colored pencils, markers, and or crayons, students will complete each assigned sketchbook page. Again, working in your sketchbook, although you have an example page on the back of that. Okay, so here are the excuse me, the expectations for the learning outcomes, and the task is to follow the directions and make sure you're doing a good job. So here are some directions on here. It says form, try your hand at drawing each of these forms. Now, I will say one thing, one trick for you. It's not just look at this and go, yeah, looks like a triangle piece of cheese, so I'm just going to draw a triangle. Really look at where are the lines placed, what is the shape. Our mind tends to, like for this one, I'm like, oh, it's a cylinder. Like I know it's a cylinder, and so I know that the top is really a circle. But look at the perspective, okay? If you really just look at the lines, the lid, the top face of that cylinder, from where you're looking at it, it looks like an oval, okay? So really try to copy and draw these forms looking at the lines that are here, okay? Not what you think they should be, but really what's here. Look at this square, this cube, okay? We know that every face of a cube is a square, but look at this shape. If you didn't know that, that is actually a parallelogram. And putting a parallelogram on the top helps to show which direction you're looking at that cube. So that's your sketchbook challenge for the week, is to really try to draw those 3D shapes the way they are, which is an amazing skill and helps you draw everything you'd ever want to draw ever again in your life. At the bottom of this page are your music directions and some expectations, but the actual music directions are here on the back page. And so you can read this to yourself. It says that music is a powerful thing. It can tell a story, bring new meaning to something, make us feel so many different ways. Have you ever been sad and heard a song that cheered you up? Or maybe you were happy and a song reminded you of something sad. People use music to express themselves all the time. And that really ties into our poetry study recently, because we use poetry to express ourselves, and it has a rhythm and it makes sense. And so people do the same thing with music. They're very, very connected. The activity that they're asking you to do is to look at the feeling of the emoji and write a song that makes you feel that way. So they've got happy, write a little happy tune, a little happy song, sad, and sleepy. So I would challenge you to obviously do that. Maybe think of one more emotion, one more feeling that you could show with a song and make a little song about that. And or see if you can get somebody to record you singing one of the songs that you made, and you can send it to Miss Camille, and I will try to guess what feeling you were feeling when you wrote that song. So I think, so that is it. That is your entire packet for week 5. I cannot believe it. I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful week, and make sure you're taking really good care of yourselves and your family. Until next time.